I mean, it's delicious. It's like, nom, nom. I want to eat all of this yarn. Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you would like to know more about my knitwear design, please check in the description below. You will find a link to my Ravelry store where you can look at all the patterns I have available for you to purchase and knit for yourself. Also in the link below, you'll find a link to the Watch Barbara Knit's Facebook group where you can join it and we can continue the conversations that we're having here. I have a swatch lab for you today. I teased it a little bit in the January vlog and I will link to that because it has useful information in it with this amazing yarn that I received from Delicious Yarns. Now, I do want to mention, if you've watched the Swatch Lab before, I usually start it off by showing you the tag. And that's another reason why I'm linking, because their tag is fabulous. It is so cute. It looks like a nutrition label. It's really funny. And it has fallen into the black hole of my desk, okay? I don't throw anything away. Ask my husband. I have the little note that I got written. I have the wrapping paper that the yarn came in, but I tore apart my desk and I cannot find the tag. It is probably someplace very, very safe. You know how that goes. So the tag is there, but I gave all the information. The one thing I didn't provide in the, when you see it, my hands, the close up, is that the gauge is 12 to 14 stitches in 4 inches. So that's fantastic, but it is a gorgeous long yarn. Look at this. This color is Frosty and it's gorgeous. And I made myself a swatch, which you will get to see close up. But I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about the dyer themselves. They're an independent dyer and they are in, I have information over here so I don't get it wrong, Valley Village, California. And all of their yarn is hand dyed. And most of it is superwash merino, but they also have, I'm going to go over here to their website. They also have a cotton bamboo blend, which sounds really interesting. And they have something called gourmet, which is like some fancy yarns. It looks like they have a sea-cell and silk blend and a mohair and silk blend. Both of those are gorgeous. They have a really cool thing where what they have is they have their bases, but then they have their colors. And so the colors are on the bases, but the way their colors are is their colors are different techniques. So how it's dyed, it will knit up differently. They have one called Sweets. The one I got was called Frosting, and Frosting is kettle dyed. They have Sprinkles, and then they have Licorice Sprinkles, which sprinkles are kind of self-explanatory. It's like speckles, and Licorice Sprinkles, it looks like it's similar to the colors of the sprinkles, but then it also has some like grays and blacks in, which are really beautiful. And then something called Two Sweets. I think they might knit up different, and there's one called Swirl. I'd be really super curious to see how all of these different dyeing techniques knit up. You have to go to their website. It's absolutely beautiful and it's a lot of fun. They're chunky. This is what I reviewed is Frosting Chunky. Frosting is the dye technique. Chunky is the base. But then you also have their other bases. They have 5 bases and of the 100% superwash merino, and it's available in fingering, sport, worsted, Aran weight, and then also the chunky. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 total, and all the different colors are on all the different bases, which is really super cool. So I think I have hit every, oh, I wanted to mention, I'm going to put a link in the description below. They have a newsletter that you can subscribe to. And when you subscribe to their newsletter, you get 2 free patterns and they say a sweet surprise a few weeks after you sign up. So that is really cool. If you like newsletters, I'm sure theirs is beautiful. You might want to sign up and see what goes on. I did enjoy this yarn. It is absolutely, it is so soft. Delicious Yarns. And it's really cool because their logo is this little cupcake. And if you go to their website, you'll see that they photograph their yarn like curled up so it looks like frosting on top of the cupcake. So that's fabulous. Here is the yarn. It is a chunky weight yarn. I can barely get it in the camera. You can see it is super big. This is 100% superwash merino. It's 110 yards in 120 gram balls. So it's over 100. It's 120 gram balls. That's a big ball. You need to use 10.5 to 11 needles is what they say. And this is frosting chunky, which the colorway is Frosty. So it's frosting chunky, but the color name is Frosty. And what the frosting means is it's actually the dyeing style. Their different names are the different types of dyeing. This is a kettle dyed yarn. I know what kettle dyed looks like. I could not particularly tell you what goes into kettle dyeing. Let's see what needle I used on my swatch. I used a 10.5 on my swatch. But first, forgot the fray thing. Let's see how many plies we have. So 1, 2, 3. We have 4 plies. Excellent. And they're plied together, not super tight. And because if you drew an S, the angle in the S goes from left to right. This tells you it's an S twist yarn. And let's see what the pull test does. So it's about that fat, just gentle. Let's pull it. Oh, it skinnies out fairly good. So it's got a good amount of floof to it. So that also is going to let you know that when you block it, it's going to bloom because there's a lot of air. You could knit this down if you wanted to, but then it's going to poof back out. Poof! Superwash merino is always awesome and soft, but man, knitting with this, it's like knitting with butter. It's so soft. So let's move him out of the way and get our swatch. This time for our swatch, let's get our wrapping paper out of the way. This time for our swatch, I decided to start with a lace motif. And you can see here that it held the lace very nicely. It's nice and open. And the kettle dye, since it's monochromatic and subtle, did just fine in the lace. You aren't losing the lace. And you aren't losing the color variation either. So that is a win-win. So if you are looking to do something with lace, don't worry about how variegated this is because the kettle dye is super subtle. But look how beautiful that is. I love that it goes to a darker blue and you almost have a white, but it's got, and I think this is why they called it Frosty. It's just this faint haze of blue over the white of the wool, and it's gorgeous. I like it. I like it a lot. And then you can see up here we got a little bit of stockinette, so you can see how it looks in stockinette. And then I went to some cable. So I did this funky cable here that meanders instead of twisting and twisting, it goes back and forth. It's like wobbly wobbly. But look at that. Look at the angle. I'm going to show you this. Look at the side. Look how much that sticks up. I mean, it is a monster bump. So I would say 2 thumbs up on this for cables. It loves the cables. I did it out of the reverse stockinette, and so it pops like crazy. I did just up here a couple little extra cables just to see what happened. And of course, it's not going to pop out of the stockinette as well as it does out of the reverse, but it still looks cool. And look at that. It's so nice. So I would say this is great for lace and for cables. And then here's a little bit of a texture pattern that I did. The kettle dye makes the texture get a little bit lost, so I wouldn't do any fine texture detail, any fine patterns where you're trying to do like an image like a bunny or something. But with these where it's a large motif, I think it works just fine, and you get really interesting texture contrasts. And then up here it's just a little bit more stockinette. In all, I think it performed really, really well in everything I put it through. Again, it is super soft. Now, I steam blocked this instead of wet blocking it just to see how that would work. And that's how good it held the lace in a steam block. So that is great. I'm sure it would perform perfectly with a wet block. Due to how it smooshes, I'm thinking that with a wet block, it might bloom a little bit more. So you could definitely go up to a size 11 and still have a nice solid field of yarn. Let's look at the back just for giggles. Okay, more reverse stockinette, more stockinette. You know, backs of cables, they just really don't do anything for me, but it's not horrible. And this is just the same lace pattern in reverse. That looks kind of cool, actually. But there. So, it is a very nice chunky yarn. It is very soft, the 100% merino. It is super wash, so that means it is going to not pill up so badly on you, which is great. And also super wash yarns take color better. You really should look at their website to see all the different colors that they have. A++, look at that, for cables. You want to knit cables? This is your yarn. And bonus for lace. I hope that you found that Swatch Lab informative and I hit all the bases. If you have any questions, anything I missed about this yarn, please ask in the description below. I actually have this pattern out. This is called Till There Was You because it is in chunky weight and I think it would be beautiful in I love it in my white, but I think it would be beautiful in this and nice and soft and snuggly, and you could wrap yourself up in it. Thank you so much to Delicious Yarns for sending me this beautiful yarn to review. Please make sure you check in the description below for a link to their website and take a look at, it's delicious. It's like, nom nom, I want to eat all of this yarn. If you like this video, please click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.